It's a lot of, Trump's on that list, and then there's a lot of, Clinton's on that list. If you were just to assign a number, like I said, Trump, 0 would be the lowest, and 10 would be a whole bunch of incriminating stuff on that list. And then I said Bill Clinton, 0 is nothing burger, and 10, obviously, a bunch of stuff. I say Trump, what number would you assign?
-3. In terms of criminality. I mean, he knew Epstein before anybody had any suspicions that Epstein did anything wrong. That I've read about in the records. On the Clinton thing, I actually have firsthand knowledge. I was having dinner with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and the Secret Service comes over to President Clinton and says, phone call, and the president walks away for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We all thought it was about national security. Comes back to the table and says, Alan, somebody wants to say hello to you. He hands me the phone. It was Jeffrey Epstein. So I have firsthand knowledge that President Clinton spoke to Jeffrey Epstein for 15 minutes. What did they talk about? I have no idea. What did he talk about with me? He asked me whether I was having a good time in the vineyard. So, there are many people who are on his plane. I was on his plane. Of course, I was his lawyer. And he would always send this plane for his lawyers. We had a special table on the plane. We would sit around and plan our legal strategy when we were negotiating the plea. And so, of course, I was on his plane, probably a half a dozen times. So was Bill Clinton. I don't know about Trump. But none of this has anything to do with any criminality. And so I think the whole thing is largely a nothing burger. There may be a couple of names that haven't yet been made public and would be made public about people who went to his island when things were going on in the island that were improper. That's a possibility, but I don't think there's anybody famous, anybody who you know about, certainly nobody who's now serving in office or recently served in office who would become incriminated as the result of the release. That's why I'm so surprised they haven't released everything.